What if your constant frustration with others, their arrogance, their lies, their weakness, isn't about them at all? What if it's your unconscious mind reflecting your own denied nature back at you, like a mirror you refuse to recognize? Carl Jung called it the shadow, the part of ourselves we bury so deep that we forget it ever belonged to us. And yet, it drives us, silently, shaping our habits, our relationships, our pain. We rage against the world, never realizing that what we truly rage against is the unhealed part of us. Before we dive deeper, don't forget to like this video, subscribe, and share it with someone who's been asking the same questions as you. Why do I sabotage myself? Why do I repeat the same toxic patterns? Leave a comment below with one thing you've always hated in others. You might be surprised by what that reveals about your inner world. This video is not about blaming you, it's about freeing you. We're going to explore how your unconscious patterns, inherited wounds, and buried emotions are the hidden architects of your suffering. With insights from Carl Jung, Gabor Maté, Viktor Frankl, Nietzsche, and Schopenhauer, we'll uncover why you will never be truly free, until you face the darkest part of yourself. This is a journey into the invisible roots of your addictions, your anger, your apathy, your perfectionism, and ultimately, into your freedom. Imagine you're walking through a house you've lived in your whole life. But tonight, a hidden door creaks open. Behind it lies a room you never knew existed, and in it, something is waiting for you. Something ancient. Something honest. Something terrifyingly familiar. Why do we sabotage what we most desperately crave? Why do we chase love and then destroy it? Why do we avoid the silence that could heal us, preferring the constant noise of distraction? According to Carl Jung, the answer lies in the shadow, the unconscious part of the psyche that holds everything we've rejected, denied, or been taught to be ashamed of. The shadow is not evil, as many believe. It's simply unlived potential, raw and unfiltered. But because we've buried it, it festers. It finds ways to emerge, in our addictions, our toxic relationships, our outbursts, our shame. And here's the hardest truth, we don't suffer by accident. We suffer by repetition. Friedrich Nietzsche once wrote, "Whoever fights monsters should see to it that he does not become a monster." And if you gaze long into an abyss, the abyss also gazes into you. What we hate in others is often what we refuse to confront in ourselves. We point fingers, not realizing we're tracing the outlines of our own hidden wounds. This inner split, between who we appear to be and who we truly are, creates a constant inner war. And in this war, our conscious mind becomes the puppet of deeper, unconscious drives. We think we're choosing freely. But are we? Or are we acting out ancient scripts written by trauma, shame, and unmet needs? We are creatures of paradox. We long for freedom, but cling to familiar chains. We desire intimacy, but fear being seen. We want to feel alive, but numb ourselves with endless stimulation. This is the human condition, light and shadow, constantly dancing. Machiavelli once suggested that people would rather be feared than loved, not because they are cruel, but because love requires vulnerability, and fear offers control. And control feels safer than chaos. But as Jung warned, until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate. Every choice we make, the job we take, the people we're drawn to, the limits we place on ourselves, is often guided not by our conscious goals, but by the invisible hand of our shadow. It's not just about psychology. It's about identity. The ego builds a mask, a persona that helps us survive, be accepted, feel valued. But behind that mask is a child who was told it was unsafe to cry, a teen who learned that anger meant rejection, an adult who believes that worth must be earned through pain. Until we recognize this buried self, we are not choosing, we are reacting. And true freedom? It begins with this terrifying, beautiful recognition: you are not who you think you are. But neither are you your wounds. What if your greatest enemy isn't out there in the world, but right behind your own eyes? What if the real source of your anxiety, your procrastination, your self-doubt, is the silent agreement you made long ago to abandon parts of yourself just to be loved, to be safe, to belong? We chase success, status, even spiritual enlightenment, not because we're free, but because we're still trying to outrun a feeling we never dared to face. But the truth doesn't go away just because we ignore it. It waits. And every failure, every addiction, every broken relationship is its whisper, trying to bring you back to yourself. Dr. Gabor Maté said, the question is not why the addiction, but why the pain. Ask yourself, what are you medicating? What emptiness do you silence with food, screens, overwork, or substances? What fear do you hide behind perfectionism or control? These patterns aren't random, they're adaptations. Survival strategies from a time when you didn't have the tools to process your emotions. You didn't develop addictions because you're weak, you developed them because, at some point, they worked. They kept you from breaking. But now, they're breaking you in another way, they're keeping you from growing. Carl Jung didn't believe in fixing symptoms. He believed in integrating the whole self, including the parts we fear. That's the confrontation most people avoid their entire lives, looking into the mirror not to fix what's wrong, but to see what's real. You are not just your achievements, your good traits, your carefully curated image. You are also your rage, your neediness, your jealousy, your shame. And that's not a flaw, that's your humanity. Jung wrote, one does not become enlightened by imagining figures of light, but by making the darkness conscious. Enlightenment is not about rising above your darkness, it's about descending into it and embracing what you find there. Think about it, how much of your life is driven by fear of being exposed? How many of your choices are dictated by an unconscious need to be seen a certain way, strong, calm, in control? And who told you that you weren't enough as you are? A parent? A teacher? Society itself? We wear masks to survive. But the longer we wear them, the harder it becomes to tell who we are without them. The shadow isn't evil, it's the unloved version of you, the part that only wants one thing, to be acknowledged. This is not about guilt. It's about responsibility. You didn't choose your wounds, but you are responsible for your healing. The world will keep triggering you until you listen. You will keep falling into the same traps until you face what part of you needs to be rescued, not repressed. And here's the paradox, the part you've hidden the longest is the one with the key to your freedom. But it won't give it to you until you're ready to stop running, and finally turn around. Transformation begins the moment you stop running from yourself. The first step is simple, and terrifying, look inward with brutal honesty. To recognize your shadow is not to invite chaos, but to invite wholeness. It means accepting that the parts of you you've hidden or hated are actually fragments of your true self waiting to be healed. As Viktor Frankl taught us, even in the darkest suffering, there is a choice, to find meaning, or to remain a victim. This choice is yours. No one else can make it for you. Self-knowledge is not a one-time revelation, but a lifelong process of peeling back layers. It's about taking responsibility for your wounds without blaming yourself for having them. Gabor Maté reminds us that trauma is not what happens to us, it's what happens inside us because of what happened to us. When you begin to face your pain with courage instead of denial, you start to dismantle the invisible chains that bind you. This conscious confrontation is the birth of freedom. There is no quick fix, no magic formula, no instant cure. The patterns woven deep in your psyche require patience, compassion, and persistence to unravel. But here's the secret that all great thinkers, from Jung to Nietzsche, understood: awareness is the key that unlocks the cage. Once the unconscious becomes conscious, it loses its power to control you. The darkness doesn't vanish, but it no longer rules your life. You become the master of your inner world, instead of its slave. This process is not about becoming perfect or fixed. It's about becoming whole, integrating light and shadow, joy and pain, strength and vulnerability. It's about meeting yourself with kindness, even when you don't like what you see. It's about choosing to stay present with discomfort instead of numbing it. And in that choice lies the deepest form of freedom, the freedom to live authentically, beyond fear and self-deception. So the question isn't whether you will face your shadow. The question is, when? When will you stop fighting the part of yourself that's been screaming for your attention all along? When will you step into the discomfort, the uncertainty, the chaos, and discover the vast, uncharted terrain of your own soul? The moment you say yes to that inner journey, you begin to awaken. And in awakening, you become truly free. Freedom is not a destination, it is a continuous journey into the unknown depths of yourself. There are no easy answers, no final checkpoints where all doubts disappear. Instead, there is a delicate dance between light and shadow, acceptance and resistance, courage and fear. The real question is not what you will find in your inner world, but how you will meet it, with judgment, or with curiosity. With rejection, or with compassion. This invitation is open-ended because your truth is unique, it cannot be handed to you, only discovered. Today, as you move through your day, I invite you to become an observer of your own inner landscape. Notice the moments when fear tightens its grip, when old habits pull you like a tide, or when your mind races to escape silence. See if you can pause, breathe, and simply watch, without rushing to fix or push away. This simple awareness, practiced again and again, is the seed of transformation. You don't need to have it all figured out. You just need to start noticing. If this video stirred something inside you, please take a moment to like, comment below what shadow you think you might be hiding, and share it with someone who might need this message today. Your voice matters, both to yourself and to this community of seekers walking the same path. Remember, true change begins when you choose to face yourself honestly, and when you keep coming back, day after day. If this content spoke to you, watch the video that's about to appear on your screen. It might be exactly what your soul needed to hear today.